Really? Of this entire living room, you have to play with your toy right here? This is his toy. This is his favorite toy. Broken hair ties. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome for the first time. My name is Cheryl, and today I'm here to bring you a spoiler-free review of Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. So this book is a YA dual perspective fantasy novel that follows two characters. It follows Leia, who through a series of events becomes a slave at Blackcliff Academy, which is basically a terrible, awful place that trains the best soldiers for the Empire. This place basically, you either graduate or you die. Those are the two options. And the second perspective is Elias, who is a soldier at training at this academy. One warning I will give about this book is that even though it is YA, there is a lot of violence and a lot of assault, especially towards women. A lot of women are basically treated really badly in this book. There is a lot of mention of rape. There's no explicit scenes about it. It is there, and if that is triggering to you, I would keep that in mind before picking up this book. But I will say that there are a lot of powerful women in the society, so it's not like women are exclusively treated as trash. So, like all of my spoiler-free reviews, I will be giving this book a pro versus con list to kind of show you what I liked about it and what I didn't like about it. Overall, I gave this book a 4.75, and I will tell you why it was not a full 5 stars in just a moment. So let's get into the pros. The first thing is that this book says it is based off of a Roman Empire, and it really is. It really does feel like it is inspired by the Roman Empire. Basically, the Empire has absorbed all of these other lands and all of these other places, and they've stripped the identity of these people. They are no longer allowed to practice the things they used to practice. They are no longer allowed to basically be the people they once were, which is very much like the original Roman Empire, who basically absorbed all of the lands and all of the cultures around it, but refuse to let them keep their own identity. So another pro is that it is an action-packed book. There's action from the very first page, although it is kind of a slow first half of the book. When the story picks up, it goes. There's so much action and so much that happens that you're just like, what's gonna happen next? You can barely keep up. It is so action-packed. So that's definitely a pro for me, and if that's what you like in a book, I think it'll definitely be a pro for you as well. Another pro is that it had interesting and realistic characters. So another thing I really liked about this book is that it had interesting and realistic characters. Leia was very weak and timid in the beginning of the book, which is also a con for me, but I'll get to that later. But she grew as a character and grew to be stronger, but it was a very realistic growth. It wasn't a complete 180. She didn't wake up one day and go, oh, I'm gonna be super strong now. And then, yeah, that's not how it worked. Instead, she had gradual character growth. Elias was much in the same way. He had very gradual character growth, but it was there. I liked seeing their journey and how they interacted with the events around them. The reactions they had to the events were very realistic. And basically, even though Leia was not my favorite character in the book, I still was interested in her and her story. And the last pro for me is that there were very unexpected plot twists in this book. Now, it could just be because I haven't read very many books like this, so I don't know whether or not they were actually unique or if they were just very typical. But either way, I found that this book kind of kept me at the edge of my seat. I didn't see some of the plot twists coming, which made it a very enjoyable read. Now let's get to the con list. Like I mentioned briefly before, the first half of this book was fairly slow. There was a lot of build-up and a lot of kind of introduction to the characters and the world, which, don't get me wrong, it is the first novel in this series. I completely understand why it had to be this way. But yeah, it just kind of was slow, and if you've picked up this book but put it down because it was slow, I completely understand. But I will say give it another go because it does pick up in the second half and shit gets crazy. Another con I have from this book is just the fact that I couldn't tell why the main villain was evil. And I'm not saying that characters can't just be evil to be evil, but a little bit of reason, a little bit of backstory, and I don't know if that's something maybe we'll get from the other books in the series. I can't expect Sabaa Tahir to put every single aspect of this story in the first book, but the main villain was just batshit crazy. And maybe that's why she was evil, I don't know. She just did awful, horrible things, but there wasn't any real reason behind why she was this way, behind why she was doing the things she was doing. Confused me a little bit. I wanted to know why she was this evil, why she tortured people the way she did. And the last kind of con is another thing I mentioned, and that's just the fact that Leia was a very weak main character in the beginning. She kind of was irritating to read about. She was very frustrating. Now, don't get me wrong, anyone in her situation would probably react the same way. I know I would. I couldn't expect to be a badass right off the bat. However, like I said, it was a little frustrating to read about, but and the reason that this was kind of a pro, kind of a con, is the fact that she did have character growth. And so while she was annoying and irritating from the beginning, she was not that way later in the book. That's the reason that this book only got a 4.75 out of 5, is just the fact that it was slow in the beginning and that there were some things that I was kind of confused about, such as the main villain being so evil. But yeah, overall, if you have not picked up this book yet, I would highly, highly recommend it if you like YA fantasy novels. But yeah, overall, I really, really love this book, and I didn't expect to love it quite as much as I did. So yeah, that's my spoiler-free review for It, Ember in the Ashes by Saba Tahir. If you've read this book, let me know in the comments down below how much you liked it or didn't like it, and we can talk about it. As always, thank you for watching this video, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!